Hello and welcome to Transfermarkt TV. My name is Stefan Bienkowski. He's Manuel Veth, and today we are talking about all the soccer that is taking place stateside. We're flying across the Atlantic Ocean. We're in MLS, and Manu, we have you on today because we have had another MLS market value update. The players' market values across the division have changed, and why don't we just dive straight into this? Why don't you let us know what the main talking points from this update were, if people weren't able to read it on the website?
Yeah, we've updated 856 players in MLS. It's a big division, 29 clubs, right? Soon to be 30 when San Diego enter. We could have picked a number of headlines, and we probably picked a number of headlines. In fact, I feel sorry for some of these players that had their show stolen from them because, unfortunately for them, Lionel Messi joined the summer, and he quickly went to work, scored 10 goals in 7 Leagues Cups games, secured Inter Miami their first official trophy, qualified them for the CONCACAF Champions League. The exploits have been close to spectacular. If you've seen his goals, you realize that he's still the old Lionel Messi. Great numbers. And because of that, we decided not to change his market value because, he's getting to an age now where you drop, and he remains at 35 million euros, which means that the moment we confirmed that market value, as an MLS player, he broke the record as the most valuable player in the league ever. And that's unfortunate for someone like Thiago Almada, who we've featured on YouTube before, right? The Atlanta star who's gone to 27 million euros, a World Cup winner. That would have been a record. Unfortunately for him, his national team colleague is now also in the league, stealing the spotlight. But yeah, the headline is Inter Miami and Lionel Messi. And I think, as long as Lionel Messi continues what he's been doing, and as long as Inter Miami continue to win with him in the squad, and they've been winning a lot, right? They were last in MLS when he entered the league. Since then, they have won the first trophy. I wouldn't be surprised if they even make the playoffs now, even though they're last, because, their record has been so spectacular. So as long as Lionel Messi is in the league, he'll dominate the headlines. He's dominated the headlines for this market value update, and I reckon that will continue.
Yeah, obviously most of the people watching this video will want to know, or perhaps be intrigued by the Messi effect on MLS. In my part of the world, he's plastered all over my Apple TV because they've also got the rights to MLS here in the UK. They've certainly been, merchandising so much out of that. But, we're talking about real numerical kind of evidence of the Messi effect on the league itself in terms of the market values, not only of the league as a whole, Manu, but also Inter Miami. And if you kind of look into Miami's squad values, it looks as though, of course, having Messi in the team kind of blows up that market value, but it seems as though a lot of other players around him have also been getting much bigger upgrades because they've also been playing a lot better alongside him.
Yeah, I mean, just to mention a few, Robert Taylor has gone up. Bienkowski was a young, exciting U.S. men's national team prospect. Drake Callender, the goalkeeper, and both of those last two players are going to get called up by the U.S. men's national team after their Leagues Cups performances. So they have immediately benefited from playing with Messi, and their market value has gone up. We've upgraded 10 players at Inter Miami. Their overall market value is now over 90 million euros, which is close to $100 million, which is a record. We had never had a team break the $100 million mark, or even the 100 million euro mark. And, they're getting really, really close. So you see an impact there, but you see the attention across the league that Lionel Messi has been given to the league. I think my one word of caution, of course, is that Inter Miami's squad value is up significantly, but let's look at his 90 million squad value. 35 million euros of that is with just one player, right? And I think one big impact that we have seeing, and because the TV numbers have been up with Lionel Messi being in the league, of course, MLS is also watching what Saudi is doing with all the stars that are moving there. And there has been increasingly more calls to open up spendings, to increase the amount of designated players you can sign, increase the salary cap. So I think, in the long term, MLS teams have to get better to spread the wealth. When I look at the market values of all the teams, yes, they're up. I think it's 40 million across the board when you take all clubs. So the market values have gone up. But at the same time, a lot of clubs have have one or two players that make up 50% of the overall squad value. And so I think that the impact that you will see from Lionel Messi arriving in the long term is going to be that clubs are probably going to change the way they are spending. There's probably going to be an emphasis on bringing in more stars because, as you said, Apple TV is plastered all over Europe, everywhere in the world, because you can watch the MLS on Apple TV everywhere in the world. And so clubs are seeing the impact. They're seeing the financial gains that you can get from that, but they're also seeing that, they need to do things different in terms of spreading the wealth among the players.
Yeah. So do you feel as though perhaps, just to kind of round this up, the kind of legacy that Messi might have on MLS in the future, is there a concern that there's too much emphasis on these kind of star signings and maybe not on, as we would say, the kind of average market value of a player per squad rather than focusing on the MVP perhaps?
I mean, MLS is such a different approach than, let's say, Saudi, right? Where players are being brought in, and there's a hope that the country's image is going to improve, and maybe the football is also going to improve. MLS is owned by private entities and rich owners, and they want to have an end product that makes them money. And that also means producing talent that can be sold to Europe. In fact, when you look at this MLS market value update, there's a lot of young players that receive upgrades because they have been good in this league. So I think it's a really fine balance for these owners. But at the same time, getting more bigger TV audiences also helps your product to market your product and, earn more money that can then reinvest it into the clubs. And so I think the comparison that I draw is to actually Messi's owner, David Beckham, right? The owner of Inter Miami, was coming to the league, and back then there was only one designated player. Now we have three, and the league is looking to increase it to maybe 4, 5, or 6. And when Beckham came in, it was just one, and because of the impact that he had, soon the league expanded it. And I feel like we're almost now at this next level, where Lionel Messi is going to kind of force the league to change its model a little bit. They will not do it the same way as Saudi. It's just not going to happen because owners want to make money. And the resources aren't as limitless as they are with the PIF fund in Saudi. But I think Lionel Messi will have a big impact. And I think when you look at this market value update, you're already seeing it at this moment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all very, very interesting. It's a fantastic moment for American soccer. Again, man, I can only kind of once again punt your market value update. It's a great tool for people who maybe aren't as interested in MLS. It's a great way of checking to see which players are doing well, which ones are perhaps not doing so well, which teams are up, which teams are down. And as always, if you want to stay on top of all the fixtures, all the scores, all the player stats, and of course all the market values across American soccer, it's not just MLS, please do stay in touch on Transfermarkt, particularly transfermarkt.us, where Manuel does a lot of great work. And of course, you can keep on top of everything here on the YouTube channel as well. But until next time, we say thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, like this video, let us know what you guys think in the comments below, and we'll speak to you again soon.